Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson Tonight. We have exclusive new information tonight about one of the most perplexing mysteries in Washington. As you may have heard, Andrew McCabe, he's the deputy director of the FBI, announced today he's leaving his job. And the most obvious question is, why is he doing that? Was he pushed, or did he decide to leave himself? Well, you may know McCabe's name because he's been in the news repeatedly over the past several years. In 2016, it emerged that McCabe's wife had taken a large sum of money collected by one of Hillary Clinton's closest friends. This is significant because McCabe himself helped lead the investigation into Hillary Clinton's email server. You know the one, the investigation in which Clinton was exonerated before she was even interviewed. McCabe never recused himself from that investigation. So was Andrew McCabe fired today, and was that firing the result of information contained in the still famous but still mysterious House Intelligence Committee memo, the one everybody is talking about but nobody outside of Congress has actually read? We decided to spend the day finding out all we could about that memo. We made a lot of calls. We talked to quite a few people who have read it. Here's what we learned. The memo, which is 4 pages long, primarily describes abuses of FISA. That's the law that allows the U.S. government to spy on American citizens for the purpose of stopping foreign threats, and only for that purpose. Spying on Americans is supposed to happen only in extraordinary circumstances, and of course never for political reasons. That would be a disaster. That's why we have FISA in the first place, to prevent that from happening. But that law has been abused, and the memo describes how. Quote, "It's shocking," says someone we spoke to who has read it. "It doesn't answer every question. It's not the final word on anything. But there's definitely enough there for criminal charges." Andrew McCabe is indeed mentioned in the memo. A number of our sources confirmed that to us. Is that the reason he left his job today? We couldn't get a definitive answer on that. It seems the memo likely played some part in his leaving, but in the course of our reporting, we learned something else from a source. McCabe is the subject of at least one internal DOJ investigation, maybe more than one. DOJ Inspector General Michael Horowitz has been investigating politically motivated behavior at the Bureau during the 2016 election. One source told us that McCabe's resignation is likely tied to Horowitz's work. Other outlets have reported that FBI Director Christopher Wray proposed demoting McCabe over the findings of the Inspector General. Among the subjects of FISA warrants described in the memo is Carter Page, who was affiliated with the Trump campaign as a foreign policy advisor of some sort. The Obama Justice Department argued before a federal judge, and the memo describes this, that Page was an active agent of a hostile foreign government, a spy for Vladimir Putin. More than a year later, that claim looks absurd. Ridiculous, actually, because it is. Page has never been indicted for spying for anybody. No evidence has surfaced at all to suggest that that's even close to true. By the way, if Page is a Russian agent, why isn't he in handcuffs right now? Why is he on MSNBC all the time? This is nuts. Yet on the basis of that nutty claim, the Obama Justice Department was able to secretly surveil the Trump campaign. Not a small thing. The memo also apparently shows that when the DOJ wanted to extend spying on Carter Page, they used information from the now discredited Steele dossier to make their case, if you can even imagine. That was the basis of their request to the federal judge to keep a spying program in place. As one person familiar with the memo puts it, quote, "The FBI has been steadily politicized for years. Now it's being exposed for efforts to undermine and delegitimize a political candidate." Now, we don't know if that's true. We haven't seen the memo or the documents that support it. Neither has almost anybody commenting on it. But these are serious allegations. They are more troubling than the underlying crime in Watergate, that's for sure. You don't have to be a Trump voter to understand why the political use of intelligence and law enforcement agencies can destroy a country almost faster than anything else can. Yet Democrats don't care. How do we know they don't care? We checked. As of tonight, according to House Intel Committee staff, about 190 Republicans in the House, outside the Intel Committee, have read that memo. Meanwhile, outside the committee, only about a dozen Democratic members have read it. What's interesting, amazing if you think about it, is that though only a few Democrats have bothered to read the memo, they are all, to a person, adamantly against releasing it. But it doesn't matter what they want. It looks like the rest of us will be able to make our own judgments about what's in that memo very soon. The House Intelligence Committee voted tonight to declassify it. According to our sources, the entire memo will likely be read into the congressional record early next week.